We're back with G. Andres Romero. He's a candidate for House District number 10, and we're talking about the variety of issues important to New Mexico. If you're a legislator, you're going to be dealing with some of this stuff. I'd like to know what you think. And education. I know it's important to you. You wanted to talk about that. A lot of the revenue that comes into education, let me begin it this way.
Right.
I'll kind of bring it in, then let you take it over from there. A lot of the money that comes in, revenue that comes into education, say schools and higher education, comes in via oil and gas.
Right.
Okay, and I think you knew I was going to bring that in there. Do you think there's anything that we need to do as far as the education is concerned right now? Either the system or the way we fund it, because I know there's questions about the lottery and all that.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff I'm throwing there, but just take it one at a time and see if there's whatever you can initiate to that.
Okay. I'll start from the beginning, from what I feel is the beginning is early childhood education. You know, we have the Land Grant Permanent Fund, and I would like to see the Land Grant Permanent Fund. It's a rainy day fund for the state, so putting a percentage of the Land Grant Permanent Fund into early childhood education, I think early childhood education is an investment in our children and the future of New Mexico, the future success of New Mexico.
Start as early as possible, you're saying, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
within whatever issues students may need. In early childhood education, they learn a lot of discipline, so by the time they get to actual public school, then they're recognizing colors, they're doing basic things, they're learning that now is the time to learn, and I think that's wonderful.
So starting as early as possible is I think you're feeling that's what a lot of people agree with that. They say,
Right.
you know, you got to start them as early as possible. Even some say as early as 2 or 3 years old, where you start teaching them certain things and they
Right.
pick up a lot of things.
Right.
Because the
And-
intellect is developing at that time.
Oh,
and
definitely.
it's very
Between
essential.
0 and 5 is the largest brain growth span, and so
Okay, so that's one aspect of it. What is the next?
So the next aspect is, our public schools. I think we need to go back to a community-based model as much as possible with our public schools. I think as it stands now, that we over-test our children, and it's bad in two ways. In terms of our educators, who have such burdensome high-stakes testing upon them, and also our students, who it takes away from a well-rounded education, which is something that I would be a firm advocate for, ensuring that students are not only learning the important math and sciences and history. I feel as a history student
'Cause you're a
myself,
history major, right?
definitely, but also learning that there are programs there for arts, to cultivate the arts, music. I think these things are very important.
What do we do with the high school dropouts? All the kids that are dropping out of school. How do we stop that? Is there anything specific that you would recommend that you think would be beneficial as far as because our dropout rate is pretty high, and I think you
Right.
know that, especially in certain districts. I'm not sure about your own district,
Oh,
but what are you
definitely.
hearing?
Well, I think one of the things that we should do is have the support staff there, counselors, in order to identify some of these areas where students may be struggling, whether it's at home or at school, in order to identify early on and catch them before these students even begin to think about dropping out, to identify these signs that they're becoming maybe disengaged, and to re-engage them in their education. But it also starts with the economy. I mean, growing the economy, giving their parents enough support and money.
Because a lot of their dropouts, I think it's economical, because
Oh,
their
definitely.
parents either are lacking the income or they divert it so the kids have to go out there and support their parents in some cases, right? So do you feel that's the case, that it's economical rather than the dropout directly related to economics there?
Oh, I think it's very much related to economics. I mean, again, it's about growing the job market for these families, for the parents, in order so that they feel secure in their position and can devote time to helping their children with their studies and having that as a priority for their students.
Yeah, because a certain income level has a lot of trouble with their children because they're busy working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, and they don't have time to teach their kids anything.
Right,
And
exactly.
the kids end up yeah, getting into higher education, college. Do you think we need to change anything there? Are you? I know you're familiar with the lottery system,
Right.
lottery scholarship. Do you think that's going to change, or do you have any recommendation for that as far as the funding goes? Because they put that in the general fund this time.
Right.
And I think you're familiar with that, right?
Well, we'll have to start a dialogue to see. I would like to see the lottery scholarship funded for all New Mexican students who wish to seek it as it was intended. So I was a benefactor of the lottery scholarship when I did my undergraduate work. And
You went to UNM, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I have a bachelor's in history and philosophy at UNM. And so I would like to see it funded adequately. Of course, it's going to take a lot of dialogue between Democrats and Republicans in order to work out a deal to which both sides are happy with the issue. And also, I think we also need to work with the local state institutions about capping tuition prices. We cannot continually see...
Yeah, because that's out of control completely.
Right. We cannot continually see increasing tuition prices that are ultimately outpricing students
So how do
in
we
the state
cap
of
those?
New Mexico.
How do we cap that?
Well, we'll have to start a dialogue with the university as to what can be done about tuition prices, and take it from all angles, but creating
Isn't that
that
part
dialogue.
of inflation, though? I mean, it's a big entity, right? They have to run, they have to operate. Naturally, the tuition is going to go up, but there has to be a ceiling, is what you're saying.
Right. There has to be at some point where are we going to move the money from in order to see about getting the tuition capped. I mean, ultimately, we want students to have their education from within the state and stay within the state. Again, it's about job creation, so keeping them here once it's
Yeah,
finished.
because a lot of these younger guys, they're all leaving.
Right.
They're all going to Texas, they're going to Arizona, they're going to Colorado.
Right, where the job markets.
Yeah,
are-
we're losing a lot of brains there.
Right.
They're talking about brain drain there for a while. I'm sure you've heard that term. Because they don't see any economic opportunities. So the first thing they do is
Right.
they're basically done. So only have few seconds left here. I wanted to thank you for coming in.
Great, thank you very much for
and
having
we
me.
wish you the best, and we'll come back as a legislator if you get in the office.
I
okay?
certainly hope so. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We're out of time. We'll see you next time on Sunday mornings at 10. Thank you for watching.